There's a difference between cheap and being smart with your money. And the thing is, a lot of founders, especially young ones, tend to confuse the two. There's also cultural elements, how you're raised, what you're taught, will come into play because if you're naturally someone who's frugal, you're going to struggle in business. So, this is going to be a real good episode for a lot of you young guys out there that are naturally, you don't want to spend money on too many things, you're trying to count every penny, and I'm going to explain to you exactly how that is going to be a major red flag for potential business partners, your relationships, and just for your business in general. Welcome to Volco. I am a multiple business owner. I've had 3 retail stores, 2 of them are franchises. I own my own sports nutrition brand, and I also have a digital business in which we sell something called Staffless, which helps people basically run their businesses without staff, as the name suggests. Although we're not here to plug any of that, what we're here to do is talk about different types of business elements, some of the experiences I've had in my life. So let's kick off. Now, when someone is starting out, let's say you're a young guy and you don't have a lot of money. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, and I'm going to explain to you guys how even as someone, I should say, who had almost no money growing up, who was, in fact, I left home when I was 15, came back a little bit, 16, completely left. So I was someone who really had to be aware of my wallet because if I didn't have money, I didn't have a roof over my head, in which some cases I didn't, and I wouldn't be able to feed myself. So money was always a very important factor for me, but I never worshipped it and I never held on to it in a way in which I see some people hold on to it. Some people are so tight with their money that it leaves a really sour taste. So guys, to kick off this story, I'm going to explain to you a little bit about my history. Now, I'm a Russian background, so I was born in Russia and I came to Australia when I was really small, and grew up in Australia. And our family came, and we were effectively refugees, so we lived in government housing. And as you can imagine, living in government housing comes with the territory of not having too much money. So while I wasn't exactly in need of everything, I did learn the value of simplicity, and I did learn the value of money later on. Now, as I mentioned, I was also living out of home quite frequently because just situations at home weren't the best. So I had to learn how to hustle, how to make money, and how to fend for myself. Now, fast forward, I ended up getting a really good job at I think it was about 21. I ended up becoming one of the youngest national sales managers for a sports nutrition brand, and that kind of led me on my journey into business. And my boss at the time, he was this really rich guy, and the thing is, he, well, I wouldn't call him a type person. He was someone who measured his wallet quite well. So he would never be generous, but he was measured. But the thing that I always did, even though I was making obviously significantly less, and I mean to the point where I had to be conscious of where I was spending money, how I was spending, I would always make sure that I would spend equal to he would as far as it goes to dinner. So if I got invited to a dinner, I would always make sure that if he got one, I'd get the next one. If we went somewhere, if he got a drink, I would get the next one. And the reason I did that was I didn't want to be owned by someone with extra money. That in turn allowed me to build myself up to need more money in order to support my decisions. But it also earned me respect because I specifically remember once he was like, you know what? What I like about you is you're always even Steven. You've never shied away from picking up a bill or from being even. It doesn't feel like it's a chore with you, and that's something that always stuck with me because I kind of naturally did it anyway. Slavic culture, Russian culture, we're very open people. We're very giving and generous people. Sometimes a little bit too much, but maybe that comes with the territory. And being someone who is open and giving, it allows you to not have to worry about money too much. And another element that I want to share with you guys is that because there was a point where I was homeless, I wasn't really afraid to lose it all too. I was like, well, I've already been at the bottom. Why would I worry about anything really. Like, I know I can get myself back up again. Like, what's the worst? Like, a couple of nights outside, that's not that bad, right? So all these experiences kind of contributed to something that gave me this internal strength to believe in myself, but also an understanding that, hey, I really need to hold my own, especially if I'm going to be trying to impress business people and trying to show them that, hey, I can look after myself and I can be someone who also comes and is welcome at this table, right? Because sometimes a lot of young guys, they also go on the opposite end. They end up buying really stupid fancy shit that they don't need. Like, they'll buy themselves a bunch of designer handbags or designer stuff, or spend it on stupid things that they have the impression or the look of being rich, but in reality they don't have any money behind them. And if they come out to dinner, they don't have anything because they spent all their money, or they have to pay off their credits. Put it this way: if you're a young guy and you want to appear that you are at least on the way to success, my genuine advice to you is pick up dinner with people who make money. They're not going to notice your Louis Vuitton bag. They're not going to notice your watch. They're not going to notice your nice clothes. They don't give a shit about that. For them, the amount of money you spent on that is not a lot. It's like an expensive dinner. For you, it's everything. But for them, it's just like, it's another day. So seeing this expensive shit for them is not as impressive as you think it is. What is impressive is the way you conduct yourself around them. Do you see yourself as an equal? Are you just looking in their wallet, or are you just trying to get a hold of their contacts? Because if you go into these business situations and your intention is to meet with someone who has more money, more status, and more resources than you do, you're going there to acquire one of those aspects, or at least be plugged into one of those aspects. And then on top of that, you can't even hold your own, and you have all this nice shit on you. It sends the worst message possible. You won't have a good impression of yourself. You just look like a silly person who doesn't know how to manage their money. So going back to my boss, he was someone who did appreciate that, and he was someone that, like I said, as I developed in my business, I didn't end up having a problem paying for dinner anymore. It became a nothing thing, right? We'd go somewhere, we'd go to all these nice restaurants, I'll grab it, and eventually it didn't hurt the way it did at the start. But because I got into that habit, because it became a thing, I had to get myself up to that level. Now, in contrast, this is where a lot of you will find it surprising. There are a lot of rich people who are genuine tight asses. Like, I mean, genuine tight asses. Those are the ones it actually benefits you to know that. So when you do business with them, you understand what kind of person this is. Because there's often this perception that, rich people are happy to spend because they have money. That is not completely true. There's a lot of rich people that are really, really tight. And if you're going to spend your time with them, if you're going to try to get this person as a client, as an investor into something, that first dinner is going to be a great indicator of what kind of person they would be in business. While it's not going to be the end-all be-all indicator, it is a great way to suss them out, to see, hey, does this person want to invest? Or do they want to just like nickel and dime you for a certain share or a certain idea, like whatever it is. So use the dinner and use your finances to your advantage. You have to change your mindset. It's not you wasting money, it's you investing into something. And like any investment, there is pros and cons to it. There's good investments and there are bad investments. You need to ensure that you are placing your investments good. Now, are you going to have a good investment all the time? Are you going to have a 100% hit rate? No, you're not. It just doesn't happen. You have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, and just like that, you're going to need to make sure that you get your dinners out there, get a couple under your belt, so you can start seeing the differences in people. Now, the second part of it is, there's a story I want to tell you guys about someone who really talked the talk but couldn't walk the walk. There was this event I had to go to, and there was this guy that was around the peripheries, but he was very much someone who was into the whole culture of being a coach, right? And when when we would go out with this particular person, you could noticeably see how he was shy for reaching his wallet, right? And it's funny because he was always talking about the contacts he knew, how successful he is, how much bank he's making, this, but there was nothing ever to show for it. You know, there'll be Instagram posts like, oh, I cleared this big deal, I did this, I did this, I did this, but in practice, there was no evidence. So whenever whenever this guy was around, it was almost like an inside joke about, oh, here comes the pyramid, right? So don't ever be that, guys, because it will close so many doors for you. Like, if you're the type of person that acts rich, but in practice you can't back yourself up, you will do worse for yourself than being someone who's poor with a good idea. So if you're poor, but you have a good work ethic and a good idea, people will respect you, because despite what Instagram will tell you, despite what social media kind of gives you the impression of, rich people, they respect people with drive and hustle. Now, maybe you just personally haven't gotten to a stage of wealth just yet, and there's a lot of people who have a lot of natural talents. They make money, or they're moving around, or their investments are locked in, whatever the case may be, but they're genuinely good people. They have a good work ethic, and they want to push themselves forward. People with wealth will give those people a chance, because it's a matter of identifying real can see real, but real can definitely see fake too. So for all you young guys, especially you coaches and all you people, especially now with AI, how it's so easy to fake, luxury lifestyle, luxury offices, luxury this. Like, guys, like, where I film my videos, where I'm running around, I travel the world so much. Some places are nice, some places are not so nice, some places are in the middle. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not about the lifestyle presenting. It's about who you are as a person, who you are, and what you can bring to the table, what you can offer people. So this is more of a video to help you guys carry yourself. Do not be afraid to say, hey guys, look, this is the situation I am in my life. These are the ideas I have. This is what I'm capable of. What I'd like from you is X, Y, and Z. I know I can do this, and I know I can do this, and I know I can definitely do this for you. All I need is a chance. Here's what I'll produce. You're likely to get an offer, or you're likely to get a win with that than like coming in decked out with Louis Vuitton, acting all rich when you're not. Like, you're gonna get one bill put your way, and that's it. You're gonna fold, and it's gonna show on your face. So young guys that are starting out their businesses, that are building something for yourselves, don't give up. Keep going. It's a hard journey, and if no one's ever taught you business, like no one ever taught me business, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and lose a lot of money, but that's okay, because eventually it does come back and tenfold and tenfold. And the best part is, even though you might have lost the money, you still gained a lot of great experiences, which will then help you build your next business, and so on and so forth. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and it's a strange topic for a lot of young entrepreneurs to understand, and I hope you guys take it with you. Be more of yourselves and get those deals locked in. All right. Anyway, all the best to you guys. Go get it.